Hello and thank you for joining me today for the fourth episode of Museum Highlights. Today we take a look inside our one-room schoolhouse, the West Harmony School, built in 1895.
Imagine that until about 200 years ago, there were no schools in McHenry County. During that time, parents would chip in to hire a teacher who often used a room in someone's cabin to teach local children. There were no standardized books or courses of study. By 1840, the county had a superintendent who established rules for schools. One rule being that school spacing had to be so that no one would have to walk more than 2 miles to school. When school buildings were built, teachers many times lived with the family of one of their students. Schools were usually divided into winter, spring, and summer sessions. During the winter months, male teachers were hired to teach older students who were otherwise needed to work on the family farms. School days started at 9 a.m. and ended around 4 p.m. Keep in mind that many of the students got up by 4:30 a.m. every day to milk cows or feed the farm animals before heading off to school. Students would often receive an hour for lunch and recess in addition to 2 15-minute breaks in the morning and afternoon.
The West Harmony School had the bell tower and bell, which could be rung by this rope inside of the schoolhouse, added in 1902. The bell ringer rang the bell in the morning and let the students in.
There are 2 doors, so boys would enter through one set and girls through the other. They come into the cloakroom and leave their coats. Outside, you would find 2 separate outhouses, one for boys and the girls. On colder days, the teacher or one of the older students would chop the wood for the stove to heat the building. The teacher would have to get to the school early to get the fire going before the students arrived.
We see the smaller desks up front for the younger students, and in the back is where the older students sat. So this means that you had a wide range of ages and grades studying in the same schoolhouse. Typical age ranges were between 5 and 15 years old.
The 2-seater desks were for siblings and for older students to help the younger ones. The West Harmony School is 25 by 36 feet. Schools had to be smaller to accommodate the range of the human voice. Daily subjects would include reading, penmanship, arithmetic, history, and spelling.
Schools would use kerosene lamps that were mounted to the wall using brackets, and by the 1900s, law required that schoolhouses have windows to prevent eye strain for both teachers and students.
Around the turn of the century, the windows on the south side of West Harmony were raised as a result of the new mandates. Since paper was scarce, students wrote on slate and chalk. They also had pen and an inkwell. There was no running water, so students used a water jug such as this one and drank from the same cup. This is a typical lunch pail a student would bring with them. Lunch might include bread and lard, boiled eggs, jerky, or some cornbread and syrup. Schoolhouses were often the only public building in the area, and because of this served many purposes. Some held church congregations, temperance meetings, political rallies, town socials, and served as polling places. The school closed as a one-room school in 1955, but was used for educational purposes until 1960. This quilt, titled Fit to be Tied, was hand-stitched by the Society's Heritage Quilters. The quilt will be raffled off on February 1st, and quilt tickets are still available for sale and are only $1 each. Call our offices or visit our website to purchase tickets.
Join us next week inside our Gannon cabin to see how the holidays were celebrated by pioneers in the mid-1800s. We would like to thank our members for supporting online educational programming. Please consider becoming a member. Thank you and see you soon.